Hey guys, welcome back to Dan's Chess Lounge. Today we're going to be covering some endgame fundamentals because you have to know the endgame techniques to win. I mean, it's all fine and dandy being able to remember a 20 move opening, but you need to know the end games so you can convert those wins and or either save the draws. So today we have opposition. Now, opposition can be kind of tricky if you're new to chess, and even if you've been playing for a while, it still can be kind of a difficult situation to understand. So let's go ahead and break it down for you, and hopefully you can be able to get this one under your belt. Now, there's a book definition of opposition, and the book definition is basically if the two kings are facing each other with one file or rank in between, then that's considered direct opposition. And the king or the side that does not have to move is said to have the opposition. So in this position right here on the board, whichever king does not have to move here is said to have the opposition. Now that's the book definition. For me, a lot easier way to understand it and to grasp it is just to think whichever side that can move forward has the opposition. Like if my king here can move into the green squares here, C4, D4, or E4, then I have the opposition here. So if you can step forward into your opponent's territory, your opponent's king's territory, then you have the opposition. And that's a lot easier for me to remember than the book definition. But for you, go ahead and try to remember the book definition or my way. Either one. The important thing is just to remember it, and so you can apply it in your games. Now, in this position here, whoever side it is to move loses, right? Or if it's white, since he has a pawn, it would be a draw. So in this position here, the king, it's black side to move here. So that means white is going to win if they play correctly. So, and the reason behind that is because going off of what we just said before, black moves to E5. Now, what does that do? Now, if I highlight these squares again, you have C4, D4, and E4. Now, white can step into that C4 square. So he can step forward. He can move into the black king's territory here. Right? He has taken the opposition with the move C4. So even more so important than opposition and knowing the opposition and knowing the definition, just remember if you can step forward into your enemy king's territory, then you're moving in the right direction here. So even just remember that in your game. So if you can't remember, like, oh, do I have the opposition or does he have the opposition? Just remember, if you can step into your opponent's territory where his king is covering after he moved, then you have the opposition then. So let's go ahead and play this position out, and let me show you how it's won. The king has to go back here, king d6. Now you play king d4 again. Right? Now it kind of resets the position as before. The king has to move. Now, right there, you can take the opposition by moving into the c5 square. c5, king c5. King d7, now same thing. It's like a reset all over again. The king moves, this time he goes to c7. Now, he left this square here available for us to step into and move forward. King e6. King goes back. Now it's a reset all over again. Now at this position here, once your king gets to the 6th rank here, you can push your pawn. You can push your pawn up because the black king is not going to be able to grab the pawn, and you're going to be able to promote your passed pawn here. This part here is pretty self-explanatory. If once you get to this position here, you will not lose this part here. So now you can go ahead and advance your pawn up the board, king c7, and then you can just push your pawn and you'll win this game here. Now let's go back here. I want to show you just real fast. Let me set up the same exact position here, but instead of black moving, I'm going to have white move, and I'm just going to show you why that's a draw. This time we'll have white move, same position here on the board, but it's white's move this time. The reason why this is a draw is because now black has the opposition because he can just follow white. So when white moved there to c3, black can just mirror him, c5. White goes back to d3, black goes to d5. White goes to e3, black goes to e5 here. And then if white says, well, why don't I push the pawn, right? Then it still is a draw here because the whole principle, if you remember what we just played out in the winning situation, the white king pushed the black king all the way back, right? You can't do it with the pawn. If you push the pawn, the black king just steps in front of the pawn here, and then he makes sure that the white king can never get in front. The only way to win this position is if the white king can get in front of the pawn here. But now, since white pushed the pawn, it's over. No matter what happens here, black will never allow white to step in front of the pawn. So, and then this game here will be a stalemate. And the only thing to remember from the black side, if you're on the black side of this, you're down a pawn and you're trying to hold it. Whenever you have to step backwards, this is very important. Whenever you have to step backwards, make sure you step straight back from where the pawn is, right? So the pawn is on the D file. Make sure you always step straight back, right? Don't do any moves like where you're stepping to C7 or E7 here, or a different file than what the pawn is on. Step straight back. That's very, very critical here. So this play may continue this way. You see the king step straight back. And then once you get all the way here to the edge of the board here, there's nothing for white to do here. If white pushes the pawn here, king c6. If it's black's move here. So in this position here, black steps right in front of the king here. If white, of course, steps away any of these ways, then the black king just steps in front of the pawn here on d7. And then if white pushes the pawn, the black king just steps in front. And now when white goes to d6, that's a stalemate. There's no more moves left. The game is a draw. So just remember, if you're black, step directly straight back when you have to go backwards. If you're white, get your king in front of the pawn. And hopefully, guys, you will get something out of this lesson here, this video. Go over it a few times if you have to. Having the opposition and knowing what opposition is extremely important. Sometimes you'll be playing your game and you'll be able to go into a one in game 10 moves out, because you can see that you'll be left with the one king and pawn in game. So this is very important to understand. Okay, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.